True democracy is citizen-led. Politics needs an update. We demand a people's house.
There is literally no point in having MPs anymore, and democracy is completely gone.
There doesn't seem to be a democracy now, does there, at all? They literally do what they want, when they want, if they want.
But it doesn't matter who you vote for. The results are always the same. Taxes always go up. Your wages don't.
Today marks 12 months since the most disproportionate election in our history, which saw the Labour Party win 100% of power on 34% of the vote.
And Keir Starmer, he's reaching for the taxpayer's chequebook like he's buying dinner for his French pen pal.
We don't live in a democracy. We live in a dictatorship disguised as a democracy. The UK is going to shit. The government is ruining this country.
7 Labour MPs have been suspended for voting in the best interest of their constituency, which is literally their entire job title.
How we are getting absolutely robbed as a country, like absolutely mugged off, mugged over, taxed up to the eyeballs.
You see, this system is so cleverly designed, it keeps you so occupied because we're sold this lie. No, go out and get a job, go and work, and that will make you rich.
2 options now, there is no other options. There is no in between. You either take the Britain back or you pack a suitcase and f*** off. That's it, really.
Welcome back to Brit Rants, where we ask the questions they want you to shut up about. Is Britain even a democracy anymore, or just a corporate playground with a flag? We're told we have a say, but prices rise, wages freeze, and public services collapse, no matter who's in power. You vote for change, but get the same policies in a different suit. Meanwhile, the rich keep winning, and the rest of us are left picking up the tab. This isn't just a cost of living crisis. It's a crisis of trust, of truth, of democracy itself. So if you're tired of being ruled instead of represented, hit subscribe. Here on Brit Rants, we say it loud.
True democracy is citizen-led. Politics needs an update. We demand a people's house. We demand a people's house. We are in crisis. We are in crisis. The whole system is in jeopardy.
I was arrested for daring to speak out against the king at a time when people up and down the country are struggling to put food on the table. Spending millions on crowns and golden carriages is a joke. That's why only 3 in 10 young people want a monarchy.
We don't live in a democracy. We live in a dictatorship disguised as a democracy. The UK is going to shit. The government is ruining this country. And the question is, well, what do we do about it? What can we do as the people to fix this? And the answer is nothing really by ourselves. Each individual can't do much to change the system. But what each individual can do is work in a way that they free themselves from the system as much as they can. And then we work together as a country to say no. Because we have the right as a democracy to say no to the government. There's this absurd idea that somehow the government has the power to make you do something when they don't. The government is overstepping its mark. The government has forgotten who it works for. And it's time for the people to take back control of the country. Because think about it. If things continue the way that they're going right now, what kind of a world are our children going to inherit? What kind of taxes are they going to be paying? How many hours are they going to be working? You see, it's not about freeing ourselves for ourselves. It's about creating a future for our children where they can actually live in peace and harmony. The government needs to go. Or rather, the governance of the country needs to be put back in the hands of the people. Because that's what a democracy is. A democracy is where the majority decides. And we've been sold this idea that because we get to vote, somehow we have any power. But it doesn't matter who you vote for. The results are always the same. Taxes always go up. Your wages don't. So it's not really a democracy. We just have to obey what them in Westminster say. And it's time for us to form our own parliament, to work together and to change the future for our children.
Another mad thing I find about this app. Sometimes I do videos, like really trying to make a point about how we are getting absolutely robbed as a country, like absolutely mugged off, mugged over, taxed up to the eyeballs, like about 20 times on the same product. It doesn't really matter what I'm saying. I'm making a point about how shit this country has become. Yeah. So I'm making a point about that. That is the idea of the video. And then you get some absolute, you know the word, but I'm not allowed to say it because this video will get taken down. You get some absolute going, oh, are you filming that while driving? And that's when you know this country's f***ed. What do you think about that?
So 9 billion of your money isn't enough. Yes, 9 billion. Now Mauritius wants more. And Keir Starmer, he's reaching for the taxpayer's checkbook like he's buying dinner for his French pen pal. You're politically incorrect common sense commentator. And today we're talking about one of the most disgraceful episodes in British foreign policy since Tony Blair said, "Weapons of mass destruction, trust me, mate." The Labour government, yes, that Labour government, has decided to hand over the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. And as if that wasn't humiliating enough, they're now being shaken down for even more cash. Here's the scoop. The UK already offered 9 billion for this surrender deal. That's 9 billion of your money, not theirs. But apparently, Mauritius wasn't satisfied. Now they want even more, including higher lease payments for the Diego Garcia military base and, get this, a fresh pot of development aid. This isn't a negotiation, it's a mugging in slow motion. And Labour, oh, they're bending over backwards, trying to front load more of that rent money. 3 proposals on the table. Mauritius said no to 2 of them and is still holding out for a bigger payday. And the Prime Minister, when asked, Donald Trump just shrugged and said, "We'll see." Meanwhile, Starmer's in the back room writing blank checks like he's on Deal or No Deal, except the banker is Mauritius and the contestant is the British taxpayer. Now let's pause. Why is this happening? Because Keir Starmer and Labour have mastered the art of being woke, weak and wildly out of touch. They've handed over sovereignty without a public vote. They've taken 9 billion from you and given it away like it's spare change down the back of a Whitehall sofa. And they've wrapped it up in some neo-colonial guilt trip, all while telling Brits to suck it up and be proud of being robbed in the name of justice. And don't forget, this is the same Labour government that can't define a woman, can't secure a border, and now can't even say no to a country with the GDP of Croydon. This Chagos sellout is so unpopular, even Labour MPs are too embarrassed to defend it. You won't find a single proud post on it, just mutterings, shrugs and silence. The only one cheering is Philippe Sands, Starmer's Chagos cheerleader who thinks the public's too thick to care. We are literally watching Britain pay to be humiliated on the world stage. Imagine losing a poker game, then tipping the guy who cleaned you out. That's what this is. And for what? A deal that weakens our position, a bill we can't afford, and a government that treats national sovereignty like a Netflix subscription. You can cancel it any time. Starmer promised to restore Britain's standing in the world. Apparently, his idea of restoration is getting mugged by Mauritius, while the US films it for laughs. The Chagos debacle is everything wrong with Labour in one neat package. Weak leadership, foreign appeasement, zero respect for British taxpayers, and total silence from the media class that would be rioting if the Tories did the same. This is what you get when you elect a man who doesn't know whether to kneel or wave the flag, so he does both badly. Don't let this fly under the radar. Share this, talk about it, name it for what it is, a national embarrassment. Because if Labour will sell off an overseas territory this easily, what makes you think they won't sell out you next? And if you've had enough of taxpayer betrayal and spineless leadership, maybe it's time to consider voting for someone who doesn't think British is a dirty word.
The government has too much power to do what it wants, and it's time for the people to take back the power. You see, this system is so cleverly designed, it keeps you so occupied, because we're sold this lie. No, go out and get a job, go and work, and that will make you rich. But the thing is, compared to 100 years ago. People could work, one man could work and buy a house and support his family, and the wife could stay at home and look after the children. That's not the case anymore. Now both parents have to work. The children have to be looked after in school. They are indoctrinated by the system, and it's time for the people to take the power back. While the government can say, oh, we've not got enough money to fund Granny's fuel bill, but yeah, we can send billions to the Ukraine, right? The government are getting away with too much, but this system is designed to keep you so occupied and under pressure and stress, more than anything financial pressure, so that you don't have the power to do anything about it, and they just get away with whatever they like, making money for themselves and for their investors. And we feel like we can do nothing about it. Right, so the United Britain movement and the People's Parliament is solving this problem by giving power back to the people, by empowering you to take back control of your own financial life so you can take your time back and begin to challenge the system itself. It's for people who are willing to say no and take the action necessary to take power back for this country, for the children, and for the future.
What I am going to do is to respond by saying, I get it. We were elected in to deliver change. We've started that change. Waiting lists are down, wages are up, interest rates are down, huge, massive difference for people who are mortgage holders. But the message I take out of these elections is that we need to go further and we need to go faster on the change that people want to see.
This guy just doesn't get it at all. The fact that he thinks people's wages have increased tells me that he doesn't get it, because no one's wages have increased apart from train drivers and a few other select group of people. Now, I'm not digging out train drivers or anyone like that, but the point I'm trying to make is this. Most people are not seeing their wages rise, but everything else has shot up in cost, such as utilities, council tax, you name it, so on and so forth. Now, I'm also hearing reports that this Prime Minister, unsurprisingly, has backed Lucy Powell after her disgusting comments about victims of child sexual exploitation, rape and torture. So he doesn't get it. And the longer that he stays, the worse it will get for Labour. Two-tier care is already the most disliked Prime Minister in the history of this country. He's even more disliked than Tony Blair. And I never thought I'd say that in my life. But the longer two-tier care stays, the better it is for the Reform Party, because Starmer is the best thing to ever happen to Reform. And as long as he stays, the bloodbath will continue.
There is literally no point in having MPs anymore, and democracy is completely gone. So how the system is meant to work is people from a local area voting an MP who will vote for them in the House of Commons for that area's best interests, even if it goes against the leader of the party. It is literally the entire point of having so many MPs, all for different areas, so they can vote on behalf of their constituency. Now, as I said in a previous video, the amendment to the two-child cap will make the Labour Party look like a broken party. But it's done a whole lot more than that, because it's completely destroyed democracy. 7 Labour MPs have been suspended for voting in the best interest of their constituency, which is literally their entire job title. I'm also presuming a lot of Labour MPs knew this was going to happen, and that's why they voted to keep it, so they didn't lose their jobs. That's just as corrupt as the Tories. The Labour Party have literally gone against the Church of England, because the Archbishop of Canterbury has talked out against it, 7 Labour unions, and vast amounts of charities regarding child poverty. And Keir's like, oh, we can't afford it. To abolish the cruel two-child cap, it would cost $2.4 billion. And Keir Starmer has just signed up to send Ukraine $3 billion per year till it's not needed. On top of that, if they upped the taxes for the richest by just 1%, they could earn 3 times the amount they need to abolish the two-child cap. This has made it very clear to everybody that it doesn't matter what's in the best interest of each constituency, because if MPs even vocalise that now, they'll lose their jobs. Most likely to be replaced by one of Keir Starmer's mate little lick arses who won't talk up against him. And before anybody says, oh, I told you to vote Reform, Nigel Farage and the Reform Party have been for abolishing the two-child cap. Guess how many out of the 5 Reform MPs turned up to vote? None. Not even one of them went to the House of Commons to vote on the issue. Which isn't that surprising, since the leader of the party has not been in the country for the majority of the time he's been an MP.
Can someone explain to me what democracy means? Because my understanding of democracy means that it's all about the vote and the people and the majority, not one person that makes these decisions, i.e. Starmer. He just goes around doing what he wants when he wants. How has he managed to get this one through? We voted for Brexit. They've never fully implemented it, as we know. But he's now given all the EU trawlermen access to our fishing waters. Hey? Since when? When was that agreed? Voted in? What? We might as well live in a communist... There doesn't seem to be a democracy now, does there, at all? They literally do what they want, when they want, if they want. Absolute, what a betrayal. He's literally, it's the beginning of the end for Brexit. Honest, can this man do any more to wind us up? Can he do any more to be more hated than he is at the moment? Because people cannot cannot stand him. He's that despised, but he just cracks on. He just cracks on. Oh, tell you what, unreal. Cheers, Starmer. Again, another kick in the teeth.
Today marks 12 months since the most disproportionate election in our history, which saw the Labour Party win 100% of power on 34% of the vote. And while many people celebrated that victory, it is a stark reminder that anyone can lead our nation on a fraction of the vote. Boris Johnson did it, Keir Starmer's doing it now, and next it could be Nigel Farage. But things are changing. 60% of us want to move away from the winner-takes-all, first-past-the-post system to a fairer system of elections where every vote matters and where politicians have to work together to solve the problems our nation's facing. If you think it's time to change our voting system, join us at Make Votes Matter and call for PR now.
Once again, the newspapers are full of all of these articles about how polls are showing that the public are incredibly dissatisfied with the NHS, very unhappy with the service because a lot of people can't get ready access to a GP. They're waiting a long time in A&E. Millions of people are on waiting lists. It's a terrible situation. It's awful for so many people, right? But what these articles don't cover, barely ever cover, is that the majority of the public support the NHS as a concept. They want the NHS to be funded. They want it to work properly. The way these articles are spun up makes it sound like the public have lost faith in the NHS itself and they just want it to be scrapped. I've been an NHS campaigner for 10 years. That is not the case. The majority of people want the NHS to continue. They want the politicians to fund it properly and for it to work properly and to be able to get the care they need. Most people don't want the NHS to be got rid of, and these articles are used as a weapon by those who do want to scrap the NHS. So these newspapers shouldn't be printing these things without making it very, very clear that the reason the NHS doesn't work is because of politicians and because people are dissatisfied with the NHS and they would like the politicians to actually sort it out properly.
Stop talking to me.
Don't
listen. If you
don't take my picture.
Stop talking to me then.
You stop us first.
No, you stop talking to me. You don't order me around, buddy. Larby Rafai. Yeah. Where are you from, Larby?
I'm Algerian.
Algerian?
Yeah.
Didn't like Algeria, no? You didn't like your country?
No, I like everywhere, but where I find the job I work. That's it.
Oh, there't no jobs in Algeria?
If I find a job, I don't come here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're not in Algeria now?
Okay, thank you very much.
Just trying to mind my own business, waiting for the adult safeguarding team to come down. They don't like speaking to people face to face. They want to speak to you over a phone or via email.
Yeah. Hello there. Hi, mate. Let's talk to you.
Sorry, you're talking to me?
Yeah. Just from the police.
Well, first of all, we're not mates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask what's wrong?
Sorry?
What's the problem?
Nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't call you.
Phone in here.
I didn't call you.
Huh?
I didn't call you.
You didn't do what?
I didn't call you.
No,
yeah, I know
we've
that.
been told by a member of security you aren't allowed to film in here.
This is a public building.
Unless you have permission.
Public building, isn't it?
Specific permissions that you're allowed to.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Is it right if you stop filming?
No.
No. You can't.
Sorry, who are you?
Sorry.
Yeah. If you're dealing with the public, you're not supposed to identify yourselves.
No, not unless you ask me to.
Right, you got down here very quick. You came very quick. Oh, what's that, your gun?
No, we don't have a
Oh, good. You are who, sorry?
DC Emery.
Detective Constable Emery.
Emery, yes.
And you are?
I'm Detective Constable Gillam.
Detective Constable Gillam.
Yeah. And we're here on other matters.
All right.
We've just been called up just because obviously you're not allowed to film here.
It's a public building.
You've got to have permission to film here.
It's a public building. I'm allowed to film in public.
But why are you filming
in public, outside and
No, this is public access.
specific part of the building. They've just asked us.
Doesn't say no photography anywhere, does it?
I'll go and check for you.
Are they photographing me?
This is their building. They have the right
Yeah.
to have security in there.
And I also have the right to look after my own security, right? So when you deal with the public, you usually turn your body-worn cameras on, right? Yeah. When I deal with security, we start ordering. All right, off you go then.
Hello.
Yeah.
Are you laughing?
Well, I am laughing here because I was talking to you and you just walked off.
Can you not walk behind me, please?
Why not? I walk where I like.
Sort of come to realise that us Brits in the UK, right, we're finished. I think we've gone past the point of no return. Yeah, we're basically. So obviously, as you will see through my TikTok, I do promote certain products, only the ones which there is quite a few in my showcase, but the ones I make videos on are of actual products that I use myself daily. So the reason why I do this is so I can get my family, my kids, my missus somewhere safe out of the UK, because let's be fair, right, it's finished. You know, some people might argue the fact with me and say, no, it's not what you're on about. I'm not being funny, right? But look who's leading the country, for sake. Yeah. We're They've give everything away. Everything that used to be great about Britain is dog shit now. Yeah, so some will agree with me, others will disagree. You know, that's life. Don't really give a I see it as I see it. You know, our kids are being groomed and not very nice things being done to them. I'm not going to say the words because, like, I got kids and the thought of it does stress me out. So, and no one's doing nothing. Every day I turn the telly on, someone's been stabbed or someone's dead, right? And then I flick over to another news channel and all you see across Europe is migrant people. So when is everyone going to wake the up, right? Either take the country back, ruthless style, or pack up and move out, because within the next year we will be at the point of no return. So yeah, so you know, if you could all sort of like share my posts, you know, try and give me a bit of support, so I can get my family out of here. So I mean, I didn't give a if I get them out of here and then I stay, so that they can stay away, whatever. Do you know what I mean? I'm like most of you. I got kids, man. You know, the fear is you let your kids go out and play, and you know, God forbid, you get the fucking phone call that one of them's been stabbed. Like, really? Because that's where we're at now. Yeah, and no one's doing nothing, right? Everyone's too scared to say anything, because otherwise you're branded as a racist, or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, wait the fuck up. All these idiots over here coming here for the free ride. They're just wiping everything out over here. Like, we're it's as simple as that. You know, you can either face facts and admit it, or everyone can live in denial and be like, oh yeah, well, it's fine, you know, we welcome them here. Really? Okay. So anyway, that was my rant over. So I would appreciate the support, you know, help push my posts out. The only reason why I do it is I first started doing the TikToks for the arthritis. I've given so much stuff away for arthritis, because obviously I suffer myself with it. But obviously my circumstances have changed, you know, so I'm trying to do something else to make things happen. So stay safe. I hope you're all well. Either take the UK back or move the fuck on. It's as simple as that. That's the two options now. There is no other options. There is no in between. You either take the fucking Britain back or you pack a suitcase and fuck off. That's it, really. I can't really see any other alternative. I'm open to suggestions, but that's the only way I can see it now. Peace, everyone.
I'm a political scientist, I specialise in authoritarianism, and you need to hear this right now. The Secretary of State is trying to list arguably the most successful protest movement in the country as a terrorist organisation. If this happens, it will be a crime to even tweet about supporting Palestine Action. I have followed the work of Palestine Action since November 2022, when I collaborated with one of their activists to place this type of protest within a very specifically British tradition of resistance. Because this is how we, the people of the British Isles, have resisted and protested for centuries. Protesting against powerful business interests that explicitly harm ordinary people, civilians, has made our country what it is today. Just as Palestine Action used vandalism to successfully convince the UK government to drop £280 million worth of contracts with Elbit Systems UK, the daughter company of Israel's biggest arms manufacturer, so too did their predecessors, the Rebecca rioters, use vandalism to stop public roads from being privatised. Just as Palestine Action smashed up machinery, drones, weapons components before they could be used in Gaza, so too did our infamous Luddites smash textile machinery to demand fair wages, humane working conditions, things that formed the basis of our current labour rights as British citizens. Protests against illegitimate, inhumane business practices are an inherent part of our heritage as British people. It is not terrorism to beat a machine. A machine cannot be terrorised. Vandalism and the destruction of private property are crimes, and Palestine Action activists can and do risk jail time for what they believe in. But this is not terrorism. Our government are looking to prescribe Pal Action precisely because they have been so successful, and precisely because the threat of legal action and criminal proceedings has not scared its activists into submission. And a UN human rights expert has already expressed concern at the use of anti-terrorism legislation against Pal Action activists, where they were essentially disappeared within the system and their families had no idea where they were. I don't want to say I told you so, because I don't think prediction should be the job of political scientists, but the Secretary of State has a whole host of new powers that were brought in under the last Tory government as part of this spate of anti-protest legislation that was condemned and criticised by human rights organisations around the world, and which this Labour government has still not made any plans to dismantle. Here are some clips from the conversation we had back in November 2022. The full video is up on YouTube. And if you haven't already written to your MP about the situation in Gaza, now would be the time to do so. If anyone would like a draft letter, I can write one. Just drop me a comment.
I'm a bit worried about the new Public Order Act. I worry that it criminalises online activism in a way that will not only silence protest, but it will also prevent researchers and non-government organisations from understanding and reporting on popular discontent and the struggles that people are facing across the country. I'm worried that we're dancing well over the line between weak democracy and authoritarianism. And I'm worried that a change of government isn't going to be enough to bring us back.
Dharma is well known for his aggressive line on policing of protests. In 2012, as at the head of the Crown Prosecution Service, he introduced a number of guidelines on policing and arrests at protests that said things like a placard is an offensive weapon, and people could be arrested under, as carrying an offensive weapon if they're carrying a placard, things like that. He's always been a bit of an authoritarian himself. Things are going to get worse. Things are going to get a lot worse.
They keep calling this a democracy, but when billionaires have more influence than ballots, what's the point of voting? The system is built to protect the powerful and squeeze everyone else. But here's the truth. If we don't shout, they won't listen. Keep questioning. Keep calling it out. Keep ranting. Drop a comment. Do you still believe Britain is a democracy? Why or why not? And don't forget to subscribe, because silence is what they're counting on.